What's up, everybody? Welcome to Line Movement. This is Bets Against the Spread, and this is the Sunday edition of this very strange Week 12. Happy Thanksgiving, first and foremost. Hope if you're watching this after Thanksgiving, you had a good one. If you're watching it before, that you have a good one. We have a great panel, as per usual, here on Bets Against the Spread. It's the one and only Matt LaMarca and Joe Holka. Matt, how you doing today? How you feel?
Doing great. Feel like not much has changed since the last time I talked to you. So living the dream.
All right, Joe, we won't even bother. We'll just pretend as if it is actually a minute after we just recorded the last one. Let's talk about the Sunday slate. We didn't have that great of a Thursday slate. I say fingers crossed, hoping that my actual pessimism comes through on that prediction. But the Sunday slate is fairly interesting. And we start with Matty LaMarca's Jets. Miami laid an egg. You see, I can't even hold it together for a minute. Miami absolutely lays an egg in Week 11, an embarrassing performance against the Denver Broncos. They could not handle the Rocky Mountain High. A little bit too much for them. Harsh their buzz. The Jets, who knows who's going to be a quarterback for them? Miami is 7-point favorites at the Meadowlands. Maddie, talk to me about this. What are you thinking? Are you buying the Jets touchdown underdogs at home?
Yeah, no, I'm not buying the Jets. I'm never buying the Jets.
No.
I know that they were able to come through for the those who backed them last week, but it kind of took some late Joe Flacco magic to get the job done. They were down 24-6 at halftime. I think it's only natural for a team in that position to take their foot off the gas a little bit, and that's what we saw. But the Jets allowed Justin Herbert to rack up essentially 300 passing yards before the break.
Yes.
They are atrocious. They're really that bad. And this Dolphins team, I kind of came on stream last week and said, be wary. They are good, but the stock is high, and they've done it a little bit with smoke and mirrors.
Right.
And it did come back to bite them last week. So now the perception maybe has changed a little bit. Tua got benched, but they are going to stick with him, which I think is the right decision for their long-term outlook. But for sure, the Dolphins are the better team here. I mean, they shut the Jets out the first two times these teams played.
Right.
So I don't mind laying the full touchdown with them, even on the road.
All right. So Maddie's on Miami's side when it comes to the spread. How do you feel about this total of 45, Joe Holcomb?
I don't know. I think that there's still some options on the Jets that you would think would be at least serviceable, and I guess some from their pass catchers, but we just haven't seen it so far, and I don't think it's a spot where they're just going to magically get back on track against this Dolphins team. So tough to, I guess, be on that side of it. One thing that I thought was interesting, and LaMarca mentioned this before, and I think that it's definitely true as we're recording this early in the week, the sharp action back on the Jets. They're 3-1 against the spread in their last 4 games after starting the season 0-6. So it's at least interesting. At least if we take the Jets out of it, typically these home underdogs in divisional games are decent opportunities to get back onto that team. So 14-4 against the spread this season, if we're just looking at home underdogs, divisional games. So I don't mind the Jets side as much as you guys do, but I do agree with you guys that, I mean, clearly the better team is obvious here, but from a betting perspective, I don't mind the Jets call.
We don't even need Matt to run through his numbers. We know that they are prodigious unders, division rivals late in the season. Just play it. That's just the smart play. What is it, 21% number?
Yeah, approximately return on investment.
That's big. If you know anything about betting, and hopefully you do, and if you don't, we're going to help you along the path. But that is a very large number in betting. Take 21% when someone's offering it to you. Let's talk about the Chargers. Let's talk about Buffalo. This is a hell of a game. Buffalo 5.5-point favorites, 54-point total. Joe, are we buying the Bills? Are we fading the Chargers?
I want to be on the Bills side so bad of this. And I think that one of the arguments in favor of that is just the Chargers on the road this year have been just horrendous. They've lost 4 straight away from Los Angeles. But, I mean, they've been covering in those games. They're 4-2-1 against the spread. So I think it's really interesting overall. The Bills, I mean, they've won 13 straight games when favored by 5 or more points, but only 8-5 against the spread in those games. So, LaMarca, where are the sharps at on this one early in the week? Because I'm kind of torn right now.
Yeah, so the betting activity is hitting the Bills hard. That 44% of the tickets, but 94% of the betting dollars. So
Whoa.
definite early edge here on the Bills. Bills are also coming off of a bye week, and I love my trends. One that I have here is teams that are favored coming off of a bye since 2004, 165, 130, and 9. So that's a 9% ROI. I will say, trend has not worked out this year. 5-11 in that situation. So I'm not sure if maybe the sports books are adjusting. Maybe it's just a down year for favorites coming off of the bye, but this is still a profitable long-term trend. And this game, I think, should be interesting just from an offensive perspective. I mean, the advanced line on this game, or the advanced total, was 50. It's all the way up to 54. I think that this game has the potential for some offensive fireworks.
Well, when there's no defense to be found on either side, you can only imagine what's going to go
Yeah, good
down.
formula.
Yeah, I'm in on it. We'll see what goes down. Now, maybe the Chargers and their Southern California blood and Justin Herbert being a West Coast kid can't exactly handle the frigid cold of Buffalo post-Thanksgiving. We'll find out. Should be fascinating. Another good game here. Tennessee and Indianapolis. We just saw these two teams play not too long ago. They get to take it to a Sunday matchup as opposed to their proper AFC South Thursday night showdown. Right now, we're seeing Phillip Rivers as a 3.5-point favorite at home in the Dome in Indianapolis. 3.5 points for the Colts, 49.5-point total. Maddie, what are we doing with the Colts? I know you were high on them. I told you to get off of it. Are we back with the Colts? Are we riding with Phillip Rivers?
Some of us have never left Phillip Rivers. Okay, I don't want to put it that way. That makes it sound like I believe in Phillip Rivers, which I don't.
Are you his 10th child? Come on.
I believe in this Colts team, and I'm just curious what they have to do to earn the public's respect. I mean, they just had a huge comeback win against the Packers, and yet still nobody wants to bet on them. 73% of the early spread bets landing on the Titans. Again, small sample size, but people just like this Titans team more than they like this Colts team.
True.
And Indy smacked them the first time they played, and that game was in Tennessee. So I have no problem backing the Colts as a short home favorite that is not going to be a public team. Sign me up for that.
What are you thinking about it, Joe?
I think that this one, if you want to be on the Colts side, like, I guess you're just kind of looking at history in some ways. Like, the Colts have just dominated the Titans. I know that, like, the last, like, few years, the Titans have been a little bit better. But even just if you bring it all the way back to 2012, the Colts 14-3 straight up against the Titans, 11-4-2 against the spread. So I don't know. The Titans on the other side of it, 6-1 straight up in their past 7 road games. Like, this is the time of year where you want to be, I guess, long on guys like Derrick Henry because it's cold weather out there. It's not quite December yet, but we're getting closer to Derrick Henry and his monthly trends, which I know LaMarca hates, but I think they matter for some of these running backs at times. Very interesting. I don't mind the Colts call overall, especially if everyone is just going to be on the Titans. I'm on board with that one.
We'll see if this line moves anymore. It started at 4.5. It's dropped down to 3.5. If it gets down to 2.5, which I have an inkling that it might, I think that's a really good Colts play there. I think it is. Now, listen, we can talk yourselves into 3.5 and 4.5. I don't know. LaMarca, you're shaking your head saying no. You don't think it's going to drop down that low?
No, I think 4.5 was like the advance line, and then after the Titans beat the Ravens, they adjusted slightly. So.
Do you think it's going down any further?
The true opener, I think, is 3.5 or 4. I'm seeing 4 at certain locations, but
yeah,
I think if anything, a field goal would be the max. I don't see it getting below 3. That would just be a pretty significant price adjustment.
All right, we'll keep an eye on it. Carolina and Minnesota. Teddy Bridgewater looks like he's going to be back. He almost played in the game where they didn't really need him. PJ Walker came in, played pretty darn well, all things considered. Again, Detroit didn't score any points, so it wasn't like you had to do very much. And then Minnesota, all sorts of weird with Minnesota. The Vikings 4.5-point favorites at home against Carolina. I'm seeing a 49-point total on some books. Maddie, buying the Vikings?
I do like the Vikings. I think that they've kind of became overrated heading into that matchup last week versus the Cowboys. I mean, clearly they didn't deserve to be favored by 7 in that matchup.
Right.
Now this line to me is more reasonable. Carolina and Minnesota are kind of similar teams in my opinion. Questionable quarterback type play, good receivers, not great on the defensive side of the ball. I do give Minnesota a slight edge, and the early betting numbers heavy lean on Minnesota, 36% of the tickets, 88% of the dollars. So the sharps seem to like the Vikings early in the week. We'll see what happens as more bets on this game come in, but I do think that the Vikings are where I'm leaning in this game early.
Joe, what do you see?
Yeah, I'm with you on the Vikings. I think they've kind of found their identity on offense these last couple of weeks. They've got a game-breaking rookie wide receiver. Everyone talks about how is this team going to be on offense without Stephon Diggs, and then they go and get Justin Jefferson, who's been one of the best wide receivers in the league this year. If you're just looking at things like yards per out run, that kind of thing, the talent is there, and he's a true difference maker for sure. The Panthers are somewhat interesting from a betting perspective, I think, just because they've been one of the best underdogs to bet on this year overall. So if you just go back to week 3, the Panthers have been an underdog 7 times. They're 6-1 against the spread in those games.
Wow.
So at least, yeah, it's only 4 and 3 straight up in those games, but they're covering, right? So interesting overall that I guess the sharps very early in the week are on the Vikings side. I think the Panthers are kind of interesting, actually.
Yeah. I think if this line runs up anymore, I think that it'd behoove everybody to probably get in on Carolina. All they do is cover. That is what they do. It is their principle.
Teddy Bridgewater, and I just want to point this out, 22-6 against the spread as an underdog.
What a dude. Teddy baby.
He's got a great record against the spread in general. He's like 34-12 against the spread in his career, but as an underdog in particular, this guy has been a print factory.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I don't know if how exploitable that is. I don't, that might just be his teams being undervalued a little bit. I mean, he did play for the Saints, but something to think about.
The only person who's made more money than Teddy Bridgewater as a quarterback is everyone who's bet on Teddy Bridgewater as a quarterback. That's apparently what you're telling us, Matt LaMarca, and I'm willing to ride that train for a while. These next 2 games we're going to go over real quick because they're sad. So we got Cleveland and Jacksonville. Cleveland is a 7-point favorite. They're playing good, solid football. Jacksonville doing the opposite. 48.5-point totals. Anything tickle anybody's fancy here? Anyone have any thoughts on this game?
I hate Cleveland. They really are not a good team. They have just run so pure. They're playing in these horrendous conditions every week, it feels like, which just benefits them because they can run the football. I think 7 points is too many. I do.
Wow. Okay. I can get behind that. Joe, you with me? We all riding this bet.
I'm right there with LaMarca on this one. I can't in good conscience bet the Cleveland Browns on the road. And if you just look into it, I think that you would be doing pretty well if you haven't been doing that in their past 5 games where they've actually been a road favorite. 1-4 straight up, 0-5 against the spread. Yeah, no thanks.
Does that date back to 1964? When was the last time they were a road favorite?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I probably should have added the sample to that. It has to be a decently big sample size, but man, that's still I just mentally can't get over it.
I'm with you. Yeah. Post return, they're 1-5. All right, and then we got Daniel Jones in the New York Giants and Ryan Finley in the Cincinnati Bengals. Tough injury there for Joe Burrow. The Giants give it up 5.5. I thought Ryan Finley played fairly well once he came in. I don't know. I was watching on Red Zone. I wasn't taking in the Bengals game with any extreme interest. Anything? Bueller? No
thoughts.
Okay,
we're gonna pass this game.
I think there's one thing at least that we can talk about. I do like the Giants side in this one, believe it or not. I mean, I guess we don't know obviously with Joe Burrow, but if we just look at the Giants 6-1 against their spread in the last 7 games, recently the public just doesn't give them any respect whatsoever. They're 8-0 against their spread in their last 8 road games, even though they've lost 2 games, or they've won 2 of those games. So I think there's a chance this was maybe just a little bit too much. So I'm on the Giants, I think.
All right, here's a game that you do want to talk about. Arizona, New England. Arizona going to New England, 2.5. I'm not going to lie. This feels disrespectful to Arizona. I don't think that New England's any good. I think Arizona's at least interesting. 2.5 points on the road. Joe, we go to you, resident Cardinals expert. Why is this line not 3.5, 4.5?
I don't know. The Patriots as an underdog. So that just, I don't know. I guess you can't really even look at some of those samples just because they haven't been an underdog very much over the last few years. Yeah. But they are 9-3 against the spread, 8-4 straight up in their past 12 games as an underdog. I do like the Cardinals a lot. It does seem like a team, and maybe Maddie can correct me on this, that maybe people are a little bit too high on. I just literally can't see it at times because I love my Cardinals, man. Am I on off base on that, LaMarca?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Cardinals have a chance to be the highest public team of the week.
Oh, wow.
Damn. Who in their right mind wants to bet on New England in this game? It's going to be nobody. We're kind of seeing it already. 65% of the early bets, 93% of the early money coming in on Arizona. So if you do like the Cardinals, now is probably the time to grab them because I could see this line just increasing. There's going to be no sharp buyback on the Pats unless this thing gets up over a field goal, I would imagine.
How are we feeling about the 48? Obviously, Arizona can put up some points. It remains to be seen if New England can do that on a weekly basis. 48 as a total. That's right there. That's right there on the edge for me. Anybody have a feeling on it one way or another?
I don't love the over on Pats games just because that they're going to try to control the ball with their ground game.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Arizona plays extremely fast. So the total, I think, comes down to who do you think controls the game? If New England can move the ball on offense, it's going to slow this game way down. But if the Cardinals can get that offense off the field, it's going to speed this game way up. So ultimately, your feel on the total comes down to your feel on the game. Maybe that makes this an interesting, same game parlay candidate. Either the Pats in the under or the Cardinals in the over. But I'm probably avoiding the total by itself.
Yeah, I think that it's similar to the Houston game last week, right? There was two very clear paths. If the Patriots got up big quickly, then maybe the other side of it speeds up so much that you can get some big plays and the Cardinals can make big plays. So I understand that side of it. But at the same time, if they do get ahead, when the Patriots have the ball, they're just going to literally go up the field as slow as possible. So You just have to decide which team you like. So I kind of like the over because I like the Cardinals. Shocker.
Something's got to give, but yeah, I'm not surprised that that's your play there, Joe. The Raiders lose to the Chiefs, but it was not emphatic. We all thought that the Chiefs were just going to blow them out, and then Derek Carr went out and just had a tremendous game, and the Raiders defense did what the Raiders defense usually does, which is have a terrible game. They now get to go to Atlanta and play Matt Ryan and the Falcons, who to say they underperformed would be an understatement. That was a dud of a game this past weekend. The Raiders, 3-point favorites in Atlanta, 56-point total. Matt LaMarca, are you on the Raiders bandwagon?
Yeah, Dieter, your Saints secret trash narrative.
It's not going great.
Not looking sharp, my man.
I will say this: Taysom Hill wanted to throw so many interceptions. He wanted to throw that ball away so bad, and just Atlanta did not cooperate.
I do think if there's such a thing as a moral victory in the NFL, that game last night for the Raiders was probably a moral victory. I mean,
yeah.
They play with Kansas City, man. They really do. Patrick Mahomes is just too freaking good. He made it look so easy going down the field for that last touchdown. I mean, they left 30 seconds on the board. They had time to spare.
Yep.
I don't know if I necessarily want to be in the business of backing Derek Carr as a road favorite, especially since, again, the Raiders are going to probably be a popular team, given that they looked pretty good in a prime time spot and Atlanta was a major disappointment. But, for sure the Raiders are better than I initially gave them credit for.
What are you thinking, Joe?
Yeah, you can put me in the basket of people that didn't give the Raiders any credit early on for sure. So I think this one's kind of interesting. We've seen some big money come in on Vegas so far, but I think it is early in the week, so we'll have to monitor that one. I think that like this probably says more. Like I like the Raiders side of this, but it probably says more about how little I think of the Falcons. And I know LaMarca hates these AFC, NFC types of trends, but this one's like pretty drastic. In their last 15 games against AFC teams, Falcons are 3-12 straight up, 2-13 against the spread. I don't know. I don't like backing road underdog or road favorites either, especially if it's going to be a public team. But I think I would be on the Raiders side of this one if I had to pick one.
Yeah, it seems to me like this is a big old stay away. We should also be staying away from anything regarding the San Francisco 49ers. They're going down to LA. They're going to play the Rams. The Rams are 7-point favorites, 6.5 in some places. We'll see if that line changes at all. 46.5 point total. No respect for Nick Mullins, because you shouldn't show respect to Nick Mullins. He's a bad quarterback. We're going to be real fast with this one because I could go on for about an hour. We're not going to do that. We're going to be real fast. Does anyone want to take the Rams at -7 at home?
Go ahead, LaMarca. I don't have a big feel for this one, honestly.
I see no value in locking this bet in now.
Yeah.
You know, the Rams still have to play tonight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, God forbid something happens. I think if anything, you take the 49ers now and then you maybe hedge out with the Rams later in the week.
No, you lost me to take the 49ers. We move on. All right. New Orleans and Taysom Hill, the MVP favorite, Taysom Hill, everyone's favorite tight end. Denver and Drew Lock, who, hey, nice game, Broncos. You're still 4-6. Okay. New Orleans 6-point favorites on the road at Mile High with a 44.5 point total. Not a lot of respect being given to the Denver Broncos here. Does anyone want to give it to them? Joe, are you the man to give the Denver Broncos some respect here?
I'm not a big Broncos truther overall. I think this is the type of matchup that Drew Lock could definitely I struggle overall. I think that this Saints team can bring pressure. I don't really think very highly of this Denver offensive line in general. I understand that like people probably won't want to bet on the Saints without Drew Brees, and I understand that. They've done relatively well. I understand some of those games are Teddy Bridgewater, of course, but 6-0 against the spread and straight up over their last 6 games without Drew Brees. I don't know. Are you on the Broncos side of this one, LaMarca? This one's tough.
I'm going to preface this by saying I don't know if I've lost more money on any team than the Broncos. Like, anytime I'm on them, they suck. And anytime I'm off them, they play great. But this matchup just doesn't seem like a Broncos type of matchup. You know, the Saints are number 1 in the league in rush defense DVOA at the moment. The Dolphins, for as good as their defense has become, their big weakness is against the run. And Denver was able to just pound the rock against them yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't see them finding that same level of success on the ground in this matchup. And if they don't, I don't think Drew Lock is good enough to beat teams with his arm quite yet. So, New Orleans, you know, Taysom Hill, I thought for all the crap we give Sean Payton about playing Taysom Hill, the guy looked like a legitimate quarterback yesterday. He really did. I mean, he got Michael Thomas going. Who would have thought that all Michael Thomas needed was a change from Drew Brees to Taysom Hill?
Listen, Maddie, I've been saying that the Saints are secret trash. What I meant to say is the Saints with Drew Brees are secret trash.
Gotcha.
There was the caveat all along. You missed the asterisk. All right, this is the final game of the main slate on Sunday. It is absolutely fantastic. You couldn't ask for a better one, truth be told. And hell, it might be the Super Bowl matchup. Kansas City, Tampa Bay in Tampa. So it could be the Super Bowl matchup. Super Bowl's in Tampa if we get there. Kansas City 3-point favorites on the road with a 53-point total. Maddie, do you have any trends for me here? What do we have? Chiefs after almost losing to the Raiders in Andy Reid's career. What do we have on that?
No trend about that.
Doesn't happen often. Yeah.
No trend on that. I will say that Tom Brady as an underdog is going to be a trend. Now, whether or not you want to believe that, you know, Tom Brady's the same quarterback, blah, blah, blah. But Brady, since 2004, 22-9-2 against the spread as an underdog. So I am definitely going to be on Tampa Bay in this game. I know that the Chiefs are amazing, right? They're
awesome.
The best offensive team in the league, probably one of the best offensive teams I've ever seen, right up there with the 2007 Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
But they have some flaws on the defensive side of the ball, as we have seen recently. I mean, they've given up some big performances. They gave up, over 30 to Derek Carr.
Derek Carr looked like an MVP. I mean, that says something.
Yeah, they gave up 30 plus to Teddy Bridgewater. So this team has some deficiencies on that side of the ball. And Tampa Bay is extremely balanced. They have the best defense in the league, in my opinion, and their offense is good enough. So I think that if the Chiefs can just be good on offense and not elite, I think the Bucs are going to win this game.
Joe, talk to me, baby. What are you thinking?
I might be on the other side of this one, and maybe that's just my bias of being, I guess, late to the party with this Tampa Bay offense in general. Right. But a lot of money coming in early on Kansas City, so I think that's at least one feather in the cap. But this Tampa Bay team has been a disaster when they've been an underdog. Their last 9 games where that's happened, 2-7 straight up, 2-6-1 against the spread. So I don't know. I don't really want to get in the habit of betting against Patrick Mahomes. Am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy. Never bet against Patrick Mahomes. That's a very silly thing to do, even if you have all the data in the world. All right. It would be also silly to miss out on our normal Sunday coverage. So we're talking before Sunday, and you're going, man, this week's been kind of weird. They split up the bets against the spread show. No one knows what days anything's on. We're in the clear now. We're back to normal on Sunday. We got pre-kickoff show that comes on at 11 a.m. Eastern time. We got the tilt space 6:30. We're still going to do 6:30 p.m.
6:30. I'll say that our normal Thursday show, that's usually before Thursday Night Football, we did move that one to Wednesday. So that's going to be at 5 p.m. Eastern time. We'll go through the entire DFS slate. We'll go through the entire slate again from a betting perspective. Myself, Peter Overzet, LaMarca will be there as well. So Wednesday, 5 p.m. Eastern time for that one. Everything else is the same.
Maddie, tell the folks when your stuff is getting posted on livemovement.com.
All the time.
That's factual.
My Monday night breakdown just went live this morning, so I'll be looking at tonight's game. I'll have a prop update coming on that piece later in the day, and my prop bets have been just absolutely crushing it. Not to toot my own horn, but the
horn should be tooted. I
have been fuego with the props, so make sure to catch that update. I will have my thoughts on the Thanksgiving games posted probably on Tuesday, either Tuesday or early on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Then Thursday/Friday, you'll get my thoughts on all the rest of the games.
Okay,
you can't avoid me.
This week's a disaster. There's just so much going on, but it'll be fun.
You literally just can't avoid me. I'm everywhere.
What a hoss. Unbelievable. All right. So if you guys are laying down some bets, if you need just something to take your mind off of the doldrums at Thanksgiving, and listen, it's a very wonderful holiday, but it can also be pretty annoying at times too, especially if you have to watch these first 2 games. Be sure to use blitzbet.eu. Stick with us at Line Movement for all of your betting content needs. We're talking YouTube channel. We're talking written content. We're talking all the streams. Subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell as well. We will see you very soon. When? I cannot say, but we will see you soon. Line Movement. Keep it locked in.